retail businesses allowed me to build a life that I have and have my family send me to college, then learning non-traditional education like investing into high ticket, helping people grow, businesses in the 8 and 9 figure range.
Yeah.
Like all those things really made me who I was, and paying a lot of mentors. Like I've spent over $1 million on my self-education. I invest into a lot of mentors, even people like you who maybe
you ain't invested in me. Maybe people like me.
Well, you could pay to play or you could seek to serve.
I'd rather get to get. Like, in other words, if you're going to be Peter or Paul, be Paul. What it is, Brad Lee back again with another episode of Dropping Bombs today in the studio, folks. As always, I got a real treat for you. Johnny Anton is in the house. Johnny Anton, what's cracking?
It's good to hang out with you, my man.
Now, folks, if you guys want to follow this fella after you listen to him a little bit, where do they follow you?
Johnny the Closer on Instagram.
Johnny the Closer. Is that Johnnny?
Correct.
Johnny the Closer, folks. And then, Johnny, let me ask you a question. You've made dough building and scaling sales teams, right? Automating systems and processes. Where'd you graduate again?
University of Chicago.
U of Chicago. By the way, is there a mascot for that?
It's a maroon. It's a phoenix.
It's a maroon?
Maroon is the colors, and the kind of the mascot's the phoenix.
Why the phoenix?
I don't know. Ask John D. Rockefeller.
Is that who started that deal?
Correct.
Now, didn't you say earlier it had made more billionaires than any college in the world?
More Nobel Prize winners than any college in the world.
Oh, Nobel Prize.
90
I thought
plus.
it was billionaires, you said, because we looked
There's a lot
up,
of billionaires that went there.
We looked up
sure.
billionaires. You had to get corrected on that, I guess. But it's a good school nonetheless.
Great school.
And you went there for how long?
5 years.
So what'd you master in, or what'd you major in?
Finance.
And when you got out, how'd you use that degree?
So I was going to go work on Wall Street, and I terminated my offers because I just felt like the time to make money on Wall Street was in the 90s before anything crashed in 06. And so the reason I knew that is because Laura Bourne, who did Domino's IPO, I took classes at the Booth School of Business, which is a top 10 business school. It's part of Chicago's brand. And she just told me the time to make money in investment banking and private equity was long ago. So I just took a one-way trip to San Diego and was like, I'm going to eat almonds and avocados and run by the beach and figure out what I want to do with my life. And I found a company called fortunebuilders.com. I was 22 years old. I was pretty arrogant back then. I thought it was the shit. Long story short, I almost got fired 8 times in the first 2 months. Couldn't make a single sale.
Why'd they want to fire you?
I couldn't make a sale for like 8 weeks. I made the first sale the first day. I was on the phones for $3,000, and they were like, oh, what's the next coming next to Jesus? And they were excited, and then goose egged 8 weeks in a row, and I had no idea. So I went into my boss's office. He was this Australian guy. He was from Tasmania, and he was a quack, but he was hilarious.
An Australian guy from Tasmania.
Yeah, Tasmanian Devil is what we called him. He was an Aussie rules football guy. He used to like slap his football on the ground. He's like, "Good day, mate. Yeah, quackadoo Charlie. You just need to call the Glengarry Reeds." Like, and I was like, Glengarry Leads, what are those? And then he puts on the episode where, was it Alec Baldwin? You would probably know better. But
100%.
Yeah.
Why would I know better?
You're fossil fuel in these
right.
in these sales towns. So
I'm fossil fuel.
You're a dino.
Yeah.
No, man.
If I'm a dinosaur, dude, it's a Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Why not a raptor?
What are you talking about? A little fucking velociraptor?
Haven't seen Jurassic Park?
T-Rex would just eat that bitch. T-Rex is the baddest dinosaur around. So
True.
if I'm one of those, if I'm a dinosaur, bro, shit, I'm a T-Rex.
Mm-hmm.
You might be a little velociraptor.
I definitely was a velociraptor in my sales boss's
You're
office.
just this little fucking sneaky, creepy little fucking killer.
Well, I cried like a little bitch in my boss's office, and he was like, "What's going on?" I was like,
Cried?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I couldn't make a sale, and I went to a top university, and they were like, "You sure you want this job? We're
Well,
just..."
dude, selling in universities, they're not connected.
I know that was the moment I knew I was overcomplicating it. I was thinking too much. I was on the phones too long, not really understanding
You
how
were
to drive.
overeducated.
I was overeducated. They asked me, "Are you sure you want this job? Like, you went to a top 5 school. Like, do you really want a 100% commission sales job?" And I said,
fuck yeah.
Yeah, I do.
Everybody should.
Well, the on-track
Which is
earnings,
why you don't need to go to a top 5 college.
No, you don't. And that's when the moment my life changed and I learned about traditional education versus investing into yourself with mentors and high ticket programs.
Well, yeah, exactly. But there's some danger in that too. You gotta be careful who you're who you're hiring.
Yeah. A lot of fake gurus.
Well, there's a lot of gurus that are doing well and they're using their money to show you how well they're doing. and the only way they're doing well is because they're selling you to give them money to show them how to do well.
For sure.
So again, unless those gurus are going to show you how to do what they're doing, because again, if you showed them what you're doing to make all that money, then you're legit, bro.
Yeah, for sure.
People say, "Oh, these gurus, they got rich by making you rich." Listen, they say they're getting rich off of you by claiming to show you how to get rich. Well, if it's showing them what they're doing, then it's legit.
I think that's what made Fortune Builder such a legit company is they never had an FTC violation.
Well, that was real estate, yeah.
Yeah, they actually flipped houses while they taught it. So,
well, you had real flippers and real shit.
People flipped thousands of homes using their education.
But see, what someone did, like Than, if that's the case, Than Merrill recognized that, dude, this is a sellable thing. Just teaching people how to flip houses, that's sellable,
right?
Why? Because it's what I call biz op. Like anytime you can teach somebody something that will result in a business of their own, like I'll teach you X and you'll be a Xer. You got a freaking biz op.
I think the
that's
biggest,
what it was.
The biggest thing and why they were so effective is because in their seminars, they would really attack going to school because Than went to Yale, right? Yale didn't teach him how to grad.
Now, wasn't Than like freaking all buff and ripped and tan?
Yeah, he played in the NFL for 3 years and blew out his knee when he was playing for the Bears.
But he's in shape.
Yeah, he's in shape. His wife was a pro volleyball player, so that's why he liked me because I was a collegiate wrestler and I was an all-state wrestler and a boxer growing up and so everyone there was a badass in sports. That's what I loved about it. It was just elite sports ex-athletes, right? We had a manager that was a pole vaulting champion, the sales guy that I was just telling you about, that was my first sales trainer. He was Aussie rules football, which is kind of like rugby. And there was just the other owners wrestled with Uriah Faber at UC Davis.
Why'd you ever leave?
I just reached a ceiling. I felt like, the scripts and the tools, the sales processes, I wasn't getting any credit. I wasn't getting any override. I was hitting an income, just ceiling over there. And I stopped growing. Really, I stopped learning. And I did everything there was possible, held every record in the company's history. And I honestly was just like too arrogant to understand I could grow more at that time. And it wasn't until I had a near-death experience where, also did plant medicine, traveled the world, went to 26 countries. And then I called everyone back and everyone thought I was like in a 12-step program.
Did you ever do toad medicine?
I did. Yeah, I've done toad medicine in Bali. I've done ayahuasca with a shaman. And yeah.
So how trippy is it? Which is the trippiest?
Definitely ayahuasca. I mean, plant medicine is different for everybody because people's genetics and biology and biochemistry. But for me, ayahuasca, this shit was like some 800-year-old recipe from a Peruvian family that's been doing it for a long time. And that shit put me down to the earth and I felt God. And I saw all the moments where when I was 7 years old, I accidentally burned my house down and how I created the story that I was never going to be good enough, that I was always the failure in the family, that I was never going to succeed. I realized how much of my life was really predicated off of just one moment and how that defined me.
And when you woke up or came out or, Mother Earth went home.
Yeah. Mother Aya got me, right? Is what they say.
But then what?
I called everybody in my life and everyone's like, what the hell are you on, bro? What drugs are you on? And I'm like, I'm sober as can be. I'm just happy and I love you and I forgive myself and I just feel accepted and however you are is going to work for me. And they were like, my family thought I was nuts. You know what I mean? But they were like, man, you're a nicer person. Like you're not as arrogant.
That's why they say ayahuasca helps people.
Oh yeah, for sure. I definitely had killed off a lot of my ego. I feel like ego is still healthy. I feel like you need that identity, but you can recreate your identity. And that's when I realized you don't have to define yourself from the past. You can leverage those gifts and you can rewire. And it's like turning on your favorite song and then lowering your least favorite song. When those two things are going on is when you have the gifts that have you win, but it's a double-edged sword that also causes limitations for you. And when I did plant medicine, traveled the world, started building schools and water wells with my nonprofit, I really started to understand the meaning of life is to create a difference for others, is to really add value and build the experience that you have with others, that transformation, that gift that you do by giving your gifts to other people. That's really the purpose and meaning of life. I'm not trying to sound all woo-woo and shit and give you a TED talk or whatever, but honestly, I feel a lot more fulfilled, a lot more happy. My relationships are stronger. Do I still make mistakes? Yes, but that's what the point of growth is. You keep going, you keep evolving, you keep getting better. And my family sees the difference in me. I mean, growing up, I had all kinds of issues, in and out of all kinds of trouble. And when I was able to get the healing.
Like what kind of trouble? What's trouble?
Selling drugs, getting in trouble, going to jail, spending time in Cook County Jail in Chicago, and overdosing on drugs when I was 19.
What kind of drugs?
Adderall, opiates. I broke my arm in college wrestling doing some crazy lateral drops over my head, and I couldn't work out. So that was like my substance abuse started from just replacing that dopamine and serotonin with just like opiates. So I would do all kinds of opiates. I was on the Percocets. I got them to give me 3 extra scripts that they really shouldn't have.
What'd your parents say about that?
Well, when I overdosed, I had that death experience where I literally got resuscitated at University of Chicago Hospital, and I felt like the light that people talk about, the aura of my body leaving. I was describing things that the doctors were doing that they couldn't really explain. There was doctors that took a leave of absence because they felt like my explanation was just didn't make any sense, how I would know what they were talking about when I was out. And I started to really become obsessed with afterlife and reading books about spirits and what happens to your body and how we're consciousness inside of a skin suit, and I really started to become a lot more spiritual in my life. And I was an atheist at that point because I grew up being an original Christian from Iraq. My family are refugees from Iraq, came from another country, worked their ass off in retail businesses their whole life for other people in our culture, to only have retail businesses, in the last 10 years where they were able to achieve a little bit of wealth and then get crushed by COVID. And that's what got me into what I do with tax credits and finances with employee retention credit, and partnering up with hedge funds and buying up receivables, and why I came on the podcast. I know you've had some podcasts about ERC, and now we're at a market cycle where things are turning down, and we're looking to partner up with people who want to go beyond the credit, right? Make money together, provide compliance. We have a hedge fund that buys up receivables. We bought over $625 million in receivables from other ERC firms. We realize there's a lot of compliance issues in the space because people aren't doing quality accounting work. And we want to help those firms. And we've partnered up with tax resolution firms to be able to support the hedge fund, being able to advance commissions. So that's how I got into all this. My family are retail business owners. My mom owned a liquor store in the worst area in Detroit. I was telling you crazy stories in your office about what I was growing up with and around. And then my dad got into hotels. So it was like that book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I had rich dad, poor mom, but I grew up with my mom. So I saw my dad with all the Maseratis, the Rolexes. He was never happy. And then I saw my mom, poor as can be, and just satisfied that she's with her 3 boys, right? So I got my mom's heart, my mom's passion, my mom's sincerity. Everyone always says, man, you're the most authentic person I've ever met, most genuine, real person I ever met. That's what I enjoy about you. I think who you are behind the scenes, like you're pretty much the same person on the podcast, but I think that you're actually a lot more, even to another level of authenticity outside the podcast, where if people really saw that about you and you did more events, I feel like people would really understand like how gifted you are, how much you care, and how real you are. And that's why I wanted to come here and add value to you, because I love your brand, love what you're building. And I want to see you succeed even more, because I think you have a great message, and it's something that I also believe in. So.
Well, good, dude. Like I'm always interested in finding more people that want to see me do well. That's the trick in life.
Yeah, for sure.
But I'm a dinosaur.
That's a compliment, right? Man.
I ain't got long to go. No, I would say I'm not a dinosaur. I would say I'm as relevant as fuck right now. But I would see why a young buck like you, who barely has his, license, already done so well, why you would say something like that. Mm-hmm. Because you're the up and comer, correct? And you're right now you're doing ERC and helping people there. but you're essentially a sales pro. So one of these days I might have you back and we'll talk sales.
I think it's warranted for sure.
Well, because how important is sales if you want to succeed in life?
Sales is everything.
You're going to have to learn how to sell or close and persuade if you want to succeed in life.
For sure.
So, and by the way, we were talking about my funnel. This is going to be the entrance to my funnel.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Well, a lot of people say, go focus on the people that make all the money because they can afford to pay you all this money. It's like, dude, I don't need to help the people making a bunch of money yet. Okay, if you're making a bunch of money and you want me to help you, I can help you too. Mm-hmm. Okay, but at the end of the day, it's like when someone says, Brad, who do you want to help? I want to help the people that aren't making much money. Why are they only making $80,000, $90,000 or less and busting their ass? They're working just as hard as all these people making $500,000. Mm-hmm. So what makes the difference? And believe it or not, me, I'm one of them. But no, in reality, it's the difference is these people are selling something. Mm-hmm. These people aren't.
Yeah.
These people might be working for the people selling something, but they're not selling anything. You got to sell something. What do you think?
I think sales really comes down to understanding that everything comes down to influencing people to take actions, right? How anything ever got created, if you go back to the history of time, before there was this pashmina scarf that you so much enjoy me wearing, right? Before there was the dropping bombs.
Did you say pashmina?
Pashmina.
Is that a brand?
No, it's a type of scarf name, right? So, but anyways, before there was cars.
You got to be hip. It can't be a dinosaur and no pashmina.
Before there was cars, before there was buildings, government, state lines, money, etc., you had two people trying to get access to what? Natural resources.
Hey, by the way, I had a pashmina scarf thrown in when I bought a coat at John Varvatos.
Yeah.
They gave me one of them.
And you gave it to your wife.
I did.
There's not a lot of men that can pull this off.
You ain't wearing that. No,
there's not a lot of men that can pull this off. You got to be balanced with your feminine and masculine energy.
I can pull it off. I just, pull it off with the right outfit.
You definitely could pull it off.
Johnny Anton sounds like a damn movie star's name. Johnny Anton. Starring Johnny Anton.
Both of my brothers are in film. That's funny you say that.
What kind of film?
So my oldest brother, Andre, was a Golden Gloves boxing champion. He grew up in Michigan with me. He created an award-winning documentary called Defying Deletion. And he won 43 awards worldwide. Damn. 43 awards. And it's a 21-minute short film documentary about ancient Assyria. So if you look at I don't know how much the camera can see, but I have
everything.
I have Ashur-Nazarpul on my arm, which is the first Assyrian king from ancient Mesopotamia.
Ashur-Nazarpul?
Nazarpul. Yeah.
Nazarpul.
So if you go to the Louvre Museum in France or the British Museum,
that's like some sort of tool.
It's 5,500 years ago. It was the first Assyrian king, the second most powerful empire behind the Persian Empire. So it goes the Persian Empire, the Assyrian Empire, and then goes the Roman Empire. So the Assyrian Empire, which is my descent.
Where did dynasties fit in there?
I couldn't tell you. You got to ask Siri. I probably am wrong, like the Chicago answer. But yeah, so the Assyrian Empire was the most powerful empire for 900 years in 3500 BC. This is 5,500 years ago. Who
dethroned them?
Well, it's the Akkadians, then turned into Chaldeans, and then the Chaldeans, and there's so many different groups of Kurds and Shiite and Sunni Muslims that then predominantly ran all of Iraq. Like the Assyrians, the ancient Mesopotamia, ancient Babylon.
Nothing like this dude's from Iraq, or it's kind of like that. It's like, doesn't even look like it.
We're the first Aryan race. So we have the reddish in our hair. We have blonde hair, blue eyes. My mom has blonde hair, blue eyes. She goes into liquor stores because they're all predominantly owned by Middle Easterns, especially in Michigan. They're from my culture. They go in, they talk crap about her in my mom's native tongue. And she goes up there and starts cussing them out just to mess with them. And they're like, their jaws are like dropped. So yeah. So
and you've seen your mom shoot somebody.
What is the statutory limitations?
Yeah, you better not mention it then. I don't know. I don't think there is for murder.
I don't know. I don't know
even shooting at people. I don't know.
Yeah.
But if they hadn't already called the cops, they probably won't. What are the
no
chances?
Comment.
What are the chances they're listening to dropping bombs and they're like, "Hey, wait a minute, that happened to me."
You trying to get me to narc on my mom, bro?
No, let's go to something I want the bomb squad to use, which is the knowledge from the ERC stuff. Why? Well, because again, my link was the real ERC specialists.
Yep.
But
we partnered up with them.
That was me saying to people, hey, I found an ERC deal, which again, dude, all I did was talk about it. I didn't say, hey, you better go do this or anything. And a bunch of people did it, which thankfully, because I think we got back $40 million. But that $40 million that we got back could be, compliance now. It's like, wait a minute. See, because I always wonder, like, it sounds too good to be true. Does government just handing out money? All you got to do is file this and you get all this money back. What happens if the government comes back and says, hey, you filed this, but it isn't true? And then the company that you got to do it is the one that did it. Who's liable?
Yeah, I mean, that's really according to the U.S. Treasury, Department of Justice. That's what they decide. Everything comes down to legal precedents.
You don't want to get them involved.
You don't want to get them involved. And so anybody's watching this that's an ERC provider, that's a marketer for an ERC firm, or a business owner that has utilized an ERC firm, a third-party provider, what we're seeing on the hedge fund side at Ocean Point Capital, where I'm a partner in that firm, where we're actually buying up accounts receivable, because a lot of ERC firms are waiting on 9-figure, 8-figure, 7-figure paychecks. Even affiliates or marketers have been waiting a long time, because it takes 9 to 14 months on average to process. Sometimes it takes 3 to 5 months if the claims are smaller. But what we're seeing is when we buy up the receivables, we look at the substantiating of the work. And a lot of these businesses aren't tying zip codes to municipalities, and we're seeing the quality work not being there, and we're not buying up those receivables. So, I partnered up with tax resolution firms, hedge funds to buy up these receivables, but also to help with tax resolution for some of these business owners that might have worked with the firm that didn't maybe necessarily have the right substantiation attached. Now, I'm not here to put any firm down. I'm sure there's a lot of firms doing quality work. You just have to really make sure that you're not exaggerating these claims. You're not qualifying a business that doesn't actually qualify. And I'm not saying that necessarily happened, with any firm that you use.
What should they do?
Well, they should definitely hire an expert that understands tax resolution. What if a tax attorney in their state and that understands the law. And
how did you go from sales expert or whatever you were, I forget, to ERC expert?
Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm an ERC expert. I feel like I'm a consultant that kind of saw an opportunity to help my family, because my family are retail business owners from Michigan, and we worked our whole life. I grew up in poverty to only then see my dad and my family make a little bit of wealth to almost lose it all to COVID, because my dad had hotels, restaurants, my uncles, my cousins, and it crushed us.
They're all gone?
A lot of them are gone or had to sell them at a discount. It's bad. You know what I mean? I'm talking about hotels that used to generate $400,000 net profit a month. You know what I'm saying? Like, gone, right? Just because people can't book football games at University of Michigan, the vacancies are crazy inside of these hotels, right? Wow. So I saw the opportunity to help my family get back a little bit of money so that we can severance my dad's retirement, right? For putting in 35 years as a hotelier in the state of Michigan, right? So when I saw that opportunity, that's why I wanted to come into the space to actually help businesses that qualified. And I actually found the opportunity having a party in my penthouse in Miami, and the top ERC firm was there. And when I started sending them files, I just didn't really understand how they were substantiating the claims, how they were doing the process. And so I started to just do the research and really wanted to make sure that, everything was done correctly, that claims are being substantiated for zip codes and block codes and actual ordinances and real suspensions and shutdowns. And so I started to get heavy into the compliance, because, going to a top school and then working at Fortune Builders did $1 billion in real estate coaching sales in a heavily compliant, enforced industry. Real estate coaching is one of the most enforced by the FTC and other government entities in terms of not making income claims in timeframes, not overpromising.
Dude, what do all the business owners listening need to know about ERC right now?
Well, they definitely just need to make sure that, first of all, if you're worried about any...
Hey, go get your money.
Yeah.
Hey, go get your money.
Go get your money. Make sure
worry about freaking what he's talking about after you get your money. Because if you never got no money, none of this shit matters anyway.
Just make sure you're not... if you feel like the quality of work maybe not there, or
if you got your money.
Yeah. then, you could definitely book a call with our team and you could talk to people who head up compliance on our team. The reason we got so heavily...
Where do they hit you up for that?
Well, there'll be some links available. I think Maria, your assistant, is going to drop it down in the chat.
My assistant don't do that. But you're saying that I got some links somewhere?
Yeah.
All right. There'll be some links, folks.
Yeah. But mainly we want to help after and beyond the credit. So I partnered up with Lynx and Eric. That's a common contact we have, where we've cashed out $625 million in receivables with our hedge fund, meaning the work that was quality that we really liked, that we felt like claims were substantiated. We bought up those receivables because a lot of ERC firms, a lot of marketers need receivables, and a lot of businesses that want to get their funds and not wait 9 to 14 months and want to get their ERC claim advanced, we can advance those claims through our hedge fund. So, we have really deep...
If you're waiting on it, you can get paid from this fella right here.
Yeah.
Now, where do they go to do that?
There's a link for each one of these. So if you're a business owner that's never done their claim, there's a link for that.
You better be damn sure we get these links. Otherwise, all
Maria's
this ain't going to result to shit. Because when I did this before, there was a link and tons of people went to it. So I imagine, dude, tons of people went and got their money.
For sure.
They want to maybe check, make sure it's compliant, call you. Or if they didn't get their money, you still getting people money,
we could still help them with getting assisted for their
just
process.
Make sure I get a piece from my niece. They're sending all that biz. Bomb Squad. Make sure you tell them it's the Bomb Squad.
Yeah, for sure. So, and if you're a marketer that's working with another firm and you're worried about the quality of work, or you're looking for an avenue where you can offer an advance pay to your clients to get them to come to you versus your competitors, our hedge fund can advance the pay within 7 to 10 business days, so long as the business qualifies, so long as the claim is substantiated. You have to really make sure these businesses were shut down and had suspensions or revenue decline. And that's what we make sure is in place. And so we've been able to help a lot of ERC marketers that are working with other firms that have switched to us because they're concerned about compliance. They're concerned about, where's the money? Why am I waiting 1.5 years to get paid out on my fee, right? Or as a business owner, you don't want to wait 9 to 14 months. A lot of these business owners want to expand to another restaurant location, another transportation company truck, right? They want to use it as working capital for now, because time now is worth more than money later, right? So that's really why we came on. And I just was able to use a lot of my sales consulting skills of hiring salespeople, recruiting them, onboarding them, building systems, tools. We hired a full-time CTO, a 25-person development team to build out tech to make sure everything can plug in with 50 plus payroll software integrations.
You're a madman.
Yeah. I mean, I have a great team, I would say. I feel like I'm very inspired and motivated. I feel like this country's done great things for my family, and retail businesses allowed me to build a life that I have and have my family send me to college, and then learning non-traditional education, like investing into high ticket, helping people grow, businesses in the 8 and 9 figure range.
Yeah.
Like all those things really made me who I was, and paying a lot of mentors. Like I've spent over $1 million on my self-education beyond actually going to a top school. I invest into a lot of mentors, even people like you who maybe
you ain't invested in me. Maybe people like me.
Well, you could pay to play, or you could seek to serve.
No, I'd rather get to get. Like, in other words, if you're going to be Peter or Paul, be Paul.
We were talking about this earlier. Yeah. So, okay, I'll be Paul.
Yeah. But I mean, you said it like, I pay people to mentor me like you. And then I thought maybe they'd think, well, oh, he pays Brad to mentor him. I wanted to set the record clear. I've never mentored or coached this dude at all. Although he's highly coached, because, you were talking about the algorithms and the alpha waves, and, you've been down a few paths, I can tell, especially with plant medicine.
A lot of lifetimes, for sure.
Yeah, but again, I mean, good that it's early. You know what I'm saying? Like when I was your age, how old are you? 33?
33.
When I was 33, I was only 3 years into building this company, and we still weren't making any money. We were having a lot of fun, but not much money. Didn't know a damn thing. Couldn't read a contract. Didn't understand what anything meant, but I was just positive. And I had the ability to sell, close, and persuade people. At the end of the day, that's the bottom line. So next thing you know, 20 some years later, here's Lightspeed in a 8-figure going on 9-figure business in spite of me. in spite of me. Not because of me, in spite of me. But anyway, long story short, just wanted to clarify because I'm not your mentor or have been your mentor, but a guy like me, you're saying.
Yeah. I really feel like
who were your mentors?
Well, I learned a lot from Than. I mean, he was a 9-figure business owner.
Than was definitely a mentor.
Yeah. I hired John C. Maxwell's coaching company for over a year.
He took the Maxwell teachings. Okay. What about Jocko Willink?
I do know Jocko Willink. Although
go to his thing.
Yeah. He's a beast.
That's leadership training, son.
For sure. For sure. I worked with a guy named David Fabricius, who was an Israeli Green Beret.
Wow.
And, spent a lot of time with him. I went to a wrestling camp when I was 17 years old called Jay Robinson's Intensive 28-Day Wrestling Camp. That was the most intense shit I've ever done in my life. 4 workouts a day. As
advertised.
4 workouts a day for 28 days straight. Army Rangers, Navy SEALs were there. Navy SEALs were there saying this is harder than Iraq boot camp. We were carrying each other up mountains with carrying people on us and switching, only to take a break just to switch. Running with 45-pound plates full speed. You don't believe me? Go YouTube Jay Robinson's Intensive Wrestling Camp. You will see 16-year-old kids running with 45-pound plates full speed above their head, right? And it's been 17 years since I gone to that camp, and that thing changed me. We did affirmations in the morning, journaling. We did. That's what all schools meditation, should be. That's what all schools should be. Yeah.
Everything you're talking about, that's what school should be.
That was my first entrepreneurship.
All kids should have to go to school to learn all that, to how to think in abundance, and not a current school. Current school is made to create worker bees.
Yes.
Not innovative entrepreneurial,
for sure.
Geniuses.
For sure. At U Chicago, you go to school to get a job, to work for somebody else your whole life, to have 2.5 kids, a white picket fence, and a 401k account that will never fucking retire you.
All right. So before we wrap it up, tell me what the Bomb Squad needs to know succinctly.
Yeah. So Bomb Squad, if you are a marketer for ERC firms, and or worried about compliance or tired of waiting for your payouts and you want to offer advanced pay to clients who qualify for the employee retention credit, you can click one of the links that are provided. There's 3 links. If you're a business owner, you have not gotten your employee retention credit and you feel like you qualified, you had a suspension, a shutdown, a gross receipts decline on your revenue, go ahead and click that link. If you're a business owner and you were open during COVID and you held W-2 employees, 5 or more, no more than 500.
Click my link. Jenna, make sure my link's in there.
Your link's in there. Don't worry. We partnered up with the same people because, they wanted help with offering advanced pay to those individuals.
Keep going. I was just joking. It will not be my link, folks. It'll be his.
For sure. And, and if you're an ERC firm and you're happy with your compliance, but you want to offer advanced pay, we have $2 billion. We have deep pockets out of New York.
Sell your receivables.
You can sell your receivables.
Yeah.
Or provide an advanced pay option to your clients that want the money now so they could use it for working capital to expand their business.
There you go. What should they all do?
They have 3 different links. If you're that person,
click one of them damn links, folks.
Click the link below.
Johnny, I know we're running out of time.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you coming in, though. I might have you back one of these days, talk sales only.
Oh, I got to hit that clicker. I've got so many bombs. You have no idea.
I want to hear the sales stuff.
For
folks,
sure.
Till next time, keep it real.
You figure out what it is you want, which is the hard part. Then you figure out who already did it, who's already done it, who's already doing it. And then you join them, you read their books, listen to their podcasts, join their masterminds, join their groups, do what they did.